Have you ever had one of those days where it feels like you're trying to think through a thick cloud? You know what you're supposed to be doing, but your brain just feels slow, your focus is shot, and everything is fuzzy. That's brain fog, and it's incredibly frustrating, but it's also super common. Today, we're going to decode what it is, what's causing it, and most importantly, how to lift it. Let's clear the air, shall we? And if you've ever felt that way, you are not alone. I mean, this comment from a Reddit user just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? That feeling of being so mentally swamped that you just give up. It's not about being lazy, it's about your brain hitting a wall and just shutting down. But here's the thing, this isn't just some vague feeling we all have. Scientists have actually given it a formal definition. They classify it as a real cognitive dysfunction. So think of it like an umbrella term for all these symptoms, right? Trouble concentrating, memory glitches, mental exhaustion. They all have a real measurable impact on our lives. So here's our game plan. First, we'll break down what brain fog actually is. Then, we're going to play detective and look at the triggers, especially the big ones, like our sleep, our screens, and even our lunch. And then, we'll get to the best part, a practical toolkit for lifting that fog for good. All right, let's start by looking inside that cloud. Because while it can feel like one big, confusing mess, a 2024 study actually found that there are 3 distinct parts that make up the whole experience of brain fog. And this is what's so fascinating. It's not just one thing. First, there's mental fatigue. You know that feeling? Your brain's just running on empty and you get distracted or annoyed by everything. Then you've got impaired cognitive acuity. This is the classic stuff, when you can't think clearly or a word is right on the tip of your tongue but you just can't grab it. And finally, there's confusion, that spacey, disconnected feeling, like you're watching your life from a distance. Any of those sound familiar? So, now we know what it is. But the real question is, why is this happening? And this is so important. Brain fog is not a personal failure. It's not you being lazy. It is a signal, a message from your body or your brain that something is just a little bit off. So let's investigate some of the most common triggers. And we're going to start with maybe the biggest culprit in our modern lives, the connection between our screens and our sleep. Seriously, what you do in the hours before you go to bed has a massive, massive impact on how sharp you feel the next day. See, every single night, your brain goes through this super important maintenance cycle. It cycles through different stages from light sleep all the way down to that super deep sleep for physical repairs, and then into REM sleep, which is crucial for memory. This whole thing repeats like 4 to 6 times a night. It's basically a deep cleaning for your mind. But here's the problem. So many of us have this one habit that completely sabotages the whole process. We are literally sending our brain a powerful signal that says, hey, it's the middle of the day, right when it's supposed to be shutting down for the night. And the culprit is the blue light pouring out of our screens. Neuroscientist Dr. Wendy Suzuki explains that this specific type of light tells our brain to stop producing melatonin. That's the hormone that makes you feel sleepy. So it messes up your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, and stops your brain from getting that deep, restorative sleep it needs to clear out all the junk that causes brain fog. But it's not just our nights. There are a couple of other major triggers that are probably lurking right in the middle of your workday. What you're eating for lunch, and the sheer number of decisions you have to make every day. You know that classic post-lunch slump? Well, it is 100% real. Research has actually shown that our cognitive reaction time can slow down by as much as 12% an hour or so after we eat. That's a huge measurable drop in your mental performance. And here's why it's not your fault. When you eat, your body is just being efficient. Blood gets rerouted from your brain to your gut to handle digestion. This big nerve called the vagus nerve kicks your body into rest and digest mode, which, naturally, makes you less alert. It's just biology doing its thing. And this is a really important distinction to make. That daily, rhythmic slump is very different from something more serious, like burnout. Post-meal fog is temporary. Burnout, that's a chronic state of emotional and physical exhaustion that can last for weeks and requires a whole lot more to recover from. And the signals don't stop there. Brain fog can point to even bigger things going on. It can be a leftover symptom from a virus, like long COVID, a sign of mental drain from making too many decisions, or even a signal of major hormonal shifts, like menopause. It's a really versatile warning light. Okay, now for the most important part. We figured out what the fog is, we've identified the triggers. Now, let's build our toolkit with some practical, science-backed strategies to fight back and get that clarity. So, to fight that blue light effect, Dr. Suzuki's advice is super simple. Create a screen-free buffer zone. Put your phone and tablet away at least an hour before bed. Go old school, read a real book, journal a little. And hey, if you absolutely have to use a screen, at least switch it to red light mode or grab some blue light blocking glasses. Now, for decision fatigue, the productivity nerds on Reddit have some absolutely brilliant hacks for this. The key is to just make fewer choices. Turn things you do every day, like what to wear or what to eat for lunch, into simple rules. For small stuff that doesn't really matter, literally flip a coin. And planning tiny things the night before, like your outfit, frees up so much mental energy. And for that after-lunch slump, stop fighting your body and start working with it. A short walk right after you eat does wonders for blood circulation. Even just sitting up straight can help. But maybe the best tip is this. Schedule your most important high-focus work for about 90 minutes after you eat, once your brain is back online. And of course, for the more stubborn, persistent brain fog that's tied to things like chronic stress or hormones, there are deeper strategies. Things like neurocounseling can be really effective, using tools like mindfulness and memory training to get to the root of the problem. So if you take away just one thing from all this, let it be this. Brain fog is not a character flaw. It's a signal. It's your body's check engine light coming on. So the most powerful question you can ask isn't, why am I so unfocused? It's, what is my body trying to tell me? And answering that, that's the real first step to finding your clarity.